Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jennifer Urezzio with soullanguage.us. And there are several times in my life where I can point and say, hey, there's proof that the divine knew who I was or who I am. And I feel it's so important for others to share and for you and for me to hear those stories. This show provides a forum for those narratives. It's so important for you to know your own conscious connection to your divinity. And today I'm with Sherry K. Huff. Hello, Sherry.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy. So I always want to do you remember that moment where you were like, hey, in my verbiage, God knows who I am?
Well, that actually was so long ago. I mean, I was a very small child and, I grew up in a very religious family, but also a family with the emphasis of a relationship with God. And so I remember praying very young and feeling that God was just there with me. So I've never had the feeling that God wasn't with me, but I've had times where you kind of get that, hey, I'm here. I'm really, really here. I'm so close. And there have definitely been times in my life where I've felt that.
I love that. So how has had this innately connection, like almost so ingrained in you? How has it overall supported your life?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is feeling like I'm never alone and that I always have that feeling of support and that feeling of guidance and that feeling of, um, I don't want to say don't make mistakes because everyone makes mistakes, but it's that feeling of maybe making less mistakes or correcting very quickly when maybe I might be on a path of a big mistake. And it's really a feeling of everyday peacefulness. Like, when people talk about praying, I mean, some days are not like this, but the majority of days for me, I feel like I'm in constant connection. Like I never feel like,
Beautiful.
okay, it's my time to pray. I feel like almost like it's a constant stream of conversation and not out loud. I don't walk around the street saying things out loud, but yeah, and I just feel like I've been that way in my whole life, and I've had times where I've definitely felt closer and I've had times where I felt a little bit distanced, but it's never God that's distant. It's me thinking I'm distant from God.
Yes. That's beautiful. I mean, that's a great quote. It's never God that's different distance, it's me. That's amazing. What would you tell people who want this deeper connection to whatever they call that God in the sky?
Um, you know, it's interesting because I work with, in my own business, I work with a variety of people with a huge variety of backgrounds. And it might seem surprising, but one of the simplest ways to start creating that divine connection is through journaling, because, we're all familiar with writing things down. And so I just encourage people who are searching and say, I've never had that feeling before, to just start writing out questions without trying to answer the questions. Or even statements like, God, I'm here, show yourself to me. I want to feel your presence. And I've had so many experiences in my life where it's just been so obvious that, I was protected and God was with me. One is I was driving um, downtown Denver, and there are a lot of one-ways. And I'm not familiar, I live in the suburbs, I'm not super familiar with downtown. And I turned the wrong way during rush hour traffic right into oncoming traffic. And I literally felt something grab my wheel and steer me safely, and nobody even honked at me, and I somehow got to a safe spot on the road, and it all was within seconds. And I just felt, that, I was protected in that moment. It could have been at the very least a nasty fender bender. And I had another time where my son was like 4 and we were at an amusement park, and he went on this ride by himself. And it was that bus that goes up and around.
Yeah.
My husband and I were down at the bottom, and it was his first ride that he ever did by himself. And it got stuck at the top, and he was the only person on the ride. And, I could tell like the workers were in a panic, like they were trying not to panic me, but they were, people were kind of running, trying to run quietly. And I could just feel like I thought, oh my gosh, my son's going to try to climb down, and think, what am I doing being stuck up here? I mean, I just was so scared. And this old guy was standing next to me, and he said, ma'am, your son is fine. He's fine. He's calm. Look at him. He's calm. He'll be down in a few minutes. He's completely fine. And I just felt like that peace come over me. And then when they were able to get him down, I turned to my husband and I said, if it wasn't for that older guy standing next to me and talking to me, I think I might have started climbing up there to get him, like done something crazy. And my husband said, no one was
What older
standing
guy?
next to you. Yeah. He's like, no one was standing
Yeah.
next to you. And I looked around, no trace of this guy. It was just like, and I love those kind of God moments, because it shows that, it wasn't a terrible emergency, but that God is there in the small moments to comfort us when we're maybe like on the verge of panic. So
yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. I remember running across from the US Open to get a taxi, or I was running somewhere, and like at night, like crazy, Jen, at night, blah, blah, blah. And this taxi hit me going 55 miles an hour. And my friend who was on the other side said it looked like I was picked up and put down, like standing. And
wow.
all I had was on my pants, you could see where the headlights of the car hit me. They were like the color had come off the lights on my pants, and all I had was a bruise. And I remember like the ambulance guy going, what do you mean she was just hit by a car? Like, are you crazy? Wow. So sorry, I just had a moment. I just had a moment because I thought, because Roxy was just hit by a car about a month and a half ago, and I thought, oh wow, those two things are connected in some weird way. Interesting.
Wow.
See, guys, God comes to you in all the strange freaking ways that you don't even imagine.
Exactly. I think the most profound time of my life was I had a near-death experience. I was at a football camp with my son, and I thought I had like a cold for 6 weeks. And I thought, oh, okay, I'm getting better. So I live in Colorado. I was in New Orleans. And that night in the hotel with my husband and son, I just started feeling panicked. Like every time I would try to lay down, I just was overcome with panic. And I thought, I've never had a panic attack before. Is this what it's like? And I was playing my meditation music, and I was trying to deep breathe. And then I started thinking, well, at what point do I call the ambulance? And then I had that thought. I woke my husband up, and I told my husband, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. By the third, I can't breathe, I was out completely. And I remember having that feeling, I don't want to die. And then I had that feeling, it was all split second. My kids need me, and then death is peaceful. And I didn't know it was 12 hours. It felt like it was just seconds.
Wow.
But I went over to the other side, and people say, oh, did you see your life flash before you? And it was like this, just like floating, warm cocoon, peaceful feeling of timelessness. And I met spiritual beings, and they said to me, your kids need more time with you, so we're going to help you get back in your body, but it's going to take a lot of energy. And I remember going back into my body. So this felt like seconds, but it was 12 hours. And I could hear people talking, and they couldn't I was trying to move and my body wouldn't move. And I was like, open your eyes, and my eyes wouldn't open. And I thought, oh my gosh, people think I'm dead, you know? And I just remember trying to move my legs. And then all of a sudden my eyes flew open, and the nurse was like, there she is. And I was on a ventilator, and I motioned for a pen. And the first thing I wrote was, God is so good. And
Beautiful.
yeah, and I was just like elated. I was like, I still have some more time. And then it wasn't for it was like a little bit longer before it sunk in that there's something really wrong with me. And what had happened is I had a virus that attacked the lining of my heart. And so my heart failed, and then my lungs filled up with fluid. And
Wow.
so when I went to the hospital, I was in cardiogenic shock, and my heart was functioning at 19%. And I had
Wow.
just been jet skiing like a couple days before and fishing. And all I felt was like, oh, my back hurts a little bit. So they told me that within 90 days, I would either know, I would know if I would need to have a heart transplant or how much healing I could potentially have in that 90 days. And in 3 weeks, I had they call it a spontaneous remission.
We
I
call
had
it God.
Yeah, yeah. And I had like thousands of people were praying for me, and my parents called me every single morning and prayed on the phone with me. And I just felt so lifted up. So I had in the beginning a couple days of, like, I would say terror, like of thinking I was going to die in my sleep. And then I just made up my mind that no matter how much time I have left, I want to have the biggest, best life possible.
Beautiful.
And then everything just kind of turned around. And that time of, it was probably a good, like maybe 12 weeks of daily praying with my parents, for half an hour to an hour on the phone every morning. Like I would wake up, roll over, call them on the phone. Because even though I had that spontaneous remission, my body
Right,
was
exhausted. Yeah.
exhausted.
So as we're wrapping up, I want you really to people, they've gotten to know you so intimately, but give out your website address and tell us a little bit about what you do and what you offer the world as a way of being of service.
Oh, thank you so much. So my website is sherikhoff.com. That's SherikayEhoff.com. And I am a transformational business coach. And so I work with people with their businesses, often on a very spiritual level, so that your people are fulfilling their purpose in life and still making money doing that. And I've been doing that for 14 years. And I really absolutely love it. So, and there's all kinds of free gifts and information on the website.
Beautiful. Well, Shari, thank you so much for spending time with us today. I'm really grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you.
Everyone, you've been listening to highly intimate stories and highly personal stories. And here's another way of showing you how we're all connected, and that at any time you can be next to an old man that's not there and know that you're loved and supported. So if you're interested in having a deeper connection, you could log on at soullanguage.us/gift of purpose to find your connection. Thanks a lot, everyone. I'm Jennifer Urezzio, founder and spiritual director of Soul Language. Bye for now.